So my work for 16 years was with the fishing community, and it's only after that I started working only with women. I think by 1990s, I started working at the national level also with the fishing community, and then 96, 95 was the Beijing International Conference of Women in Beijing, UN conference. After that, we realized that women-specific problems were not taken into consideration much in Kerala. Women were very marginalized within all the mainstream movements and issues, and especially with the focus on their empowerment. Women were seen as subjects for welfare, subjects for development, maybe on poverty eradication, but not women as people with rights, entitlements, and that you need to work with them to bring that perspective into whatever is being done with women. When we were working with the fishing community, we had seen many incidences where women were experiencing violence, but when they were sitting together for a meeting, they would never speak about it. Even if they by accidentally speak about it, it won't be reported next day, because they thought that it's a very personal thing and nothing to be reported publicly and things like that. And also we have seen a lot of child sexual abuse happening, and also how apathetic the police, the judiciary, and the entire system was towards the sufferings of women. It was all taken as that it is natural, that we are born women and it's our fate. So that kind of many such incidences where there were even murder of women by their husbands, these killings, this shook us. So we used to discuss this quite a lot when we were working with the fishing community and trying to build up a perspective why women are second-class citizens, why they are always marginalized in everything, why their decision-making power is not improved. And we thought development is not real development if women are not into the path of development. Men deciding for women is never the same as women deciding for themselves. And 96 beginning we started what we called Kerala's Trivedi, which is a forum of Kerala women. Then immediately we were confronted with a number of issues on violence against women. The first case we took up was a 9th standard girl who was raped by about 45 men in 1.5 months. She was handed down from one person to another, and then her parents had complained to the police. Police had not immediately taken action. So she was kind of sold from one person or handed over from one. We call it relay rape. It was like a relay race. At the end of this period, she was sick and she was oozing with pus and she was abandoned. And police found her and handed over to the parent. But this was such a traumatic incident because the Kerala was sympathetic to her unless when she mentioned the name of a politician who was involved, immediately the media turned against her because then she was blamed. That why did she go, why didn't she cry, why didn't she shout, why didn't she allow this and all that, without realizing that she was drugged. She was taken in closed vehicle from one to one, and very strong men subduing this girl. So we took up this case and we had agitations and one after another, and we pleaded for a special court to try this case, and that was granted. So we continuously followed this family, we supported them and took up this case. So there were several such cases, one after another, which we had to take. We worked a lot with campaigns. We had poster campaigns, so a lot of posters you see around every year during campaigns. This 16 days campaign, which I think US is very well known, we did that. November 16th is the Day on Violence Against Women, and December 10th is the Human Rights Day. So between that there are 16 days, and so we followed that 16 days activism. So we had 2-3 years we had very good programs on 1 billion rising, but then due to lack of resources we discontinued because you need money for organizing. So many of these programs stops when we get lack of resources, when we don't have resources. So these were some of the things we did to prevent violence against women. But then we were also addressing when violence happens, because we have a lawyer who helps. So women who are extremely poor, who can't afford the regular thing, we attend to them, we help them. There is also one is the state has a women's commission. So if that is something helpful, we send them there. Then there is another person who was the first chairperson of the commission. She has something called Apaya Atani program. We send them there. So we refer people to different places where they need professional counseling. Otherwise, we support them. And then all these years our work had been with the local governments. We were trying to sensitize the local governments to integrate gender into local planning, into local budgeting and local auditing. And we had prepared manuals, training programs, and work with them to get gender into whatever they do in the panchayats. But then the state also has started several mechanisms for addressing violence, like the Women's Commission and Women's Development Corporation. So different mechanisms. And it was the state who initiated to bring gender into the decentralized governance. So in 96 itself, the state had the very strong decentralization program in Kerala, which is called People's Plan Campaign, through which the local governments were empowered. So local governments, we had initially 30% as reservation for women, which later became 50% women. So now we have about 54% women in the local governments. And women in the local governments are able to do a lot of things at the local level. But this is not gone beyond that. So I always say there is no political mobility. Women who become strong, active, acquire their capacity are not able to go to the state or to the national level. They remain there at that level. That's a weakness in our political system, that it is still a patriarchal political system where women's empowerment or their leadership is not considered important.